Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Ben Radant and I am the children's minister here at Cornerstone Christian Church in Brownsburg, Indiana. Now, I'm going to be able to tell you a little bit about what my job here is here at Cornerstone as a children's minister. So, the first question you might want to know is, how does somebody become a children's minister? What kind of education does one need to be able to have a position like this? Well, there are a couple different paths that you can take to be able to do this, and honestly, a lot of different churches have different criteria about what kind of education level that they're looking for. But here are some general ideas about what education you might need to have to be a children's minister. One, you need to graduate high school. You can get a children's ministry degree or a youth ministry degree. You can get a general ministry degree or a Bible degree. You can get a master's of ministry, or you could even go beyond that and get a doctorate. There are different ways and different education levels to be able to have a children's ministry position. So there are some academic skills that you might want to have if you want to go into children's ministry, and here are just a few of them. One, study skills. Yep, you still need to study. Another thing that I get to do is reading and comprehension. It's a part of studying, but it's a skill that you guys are using now. There's also math, because I have a budget that they give me only a certain amount of money. I've got to go ahead and make that money work throughout the year. Another academic skill that I have is music understanding. I set together a music list for worship every Sunday, and I get to do that, and that's a lot of fun. Another thing is public speaking and teaching, something that I'm doing right now. A skill that I also get to use is technology. I put together this whole thing. I set up the camera, I edit it, I do all of that to make it ready so that you guys can watch it. And finally, time management. There's only so much time in a day. I get to figure out how to make that time work for me. There are some other skills that you guys are using now that can really help you in children's ministry. So let's take a look at some of those. So what does a children's minister do? What are some of the job demands? Well, here at Cornerstone, one of the biggest things that I have is I get to set the curriculum. Basically, I get to figure out what I get to teach the students as they are in my ministry. From birth through 6th grade, there's a lot of time there, and I want to make sure that they know as much as possible by the time that they leave my ministry. So another thing that I get to do is I get to coordinate all those volunteers, like I mentioned. There are a lot of people. I need to make sure that they're on the right page. It's my responsibility to be able to make sure that they get all those things done. And then another thing is that I teach and I preach. So I teach a lot of kids. I do a lot of interaction with them, but I also interact with adults a lot. I get a chance to preach on Sunday mornings every once in a while, and I interact with adults too. Another thing I get to do is I do VBS in summer. I get to bring kids for a week, and we have a great time as we learn about God, as we do a lot of things together in a really fun way. I also run Upward Soccer. It's our soccer league here at Cornerstone, and there are over 500 people that are usually involved in a typical season. And so we are able to get together and do a lot of things and have some fun with soccer. So another thing I get to do that you might have recognized me for, Camp Allendale. I'm involved in Camp Allendale as a part of their camp committee, and then also I get to be there in a week of camp, and I help get to run the camp. I get to be behind the scenes and set all those things up, but also I get to be out in front and do a lot of teaching with you kiddos in a large group. Another thing that I get to do is social media. Anything that has to do with video, editing, all the kind of things for my ministry, I'm responsible for. So those are some of the typical things that I've got in my job description. I do a lot of other things around the church. Here are some of the other things that I get to do. So what is a typical day like as a children's minister? Actually, no day is really typical, but there are some things that I've got to do throughout a typical week, and here are some of those things. One, I have a staff meeting. I get together with all the other ministers at the church, and we talk about what's going on, big picture-wise as the church, and what's happening in our individual ministries, and see how they all fit together. Another thing that I get to do is I write my curriculum. There are some lessons that I get to write so that they are tailored to a specific age group. And then I have another day where I go and I tape. I make sure that everything is right on video, and then I edit that video and I get it ready to put on different platforms like Facebook and YouTube so that it can be used in a lot of different ways and a lot of different people are able to see the lesson. So then the other final thing that I get to do is I get to just be with people. I get to contact people, I contact volunteers, but even outside of that, I try to talk with kids throughout the week. I get to help solve problems, I get to come alongside people, and I get to just minister to people. That's a big part of my job. And so those are mostly a lot of the things that I get to do in a typical week. So those are kind of the nuts and bolts of what I get to do. But I gotta tell you, this is something that I love to do. This is a passion. This is something that is worthwhile. I get to work for a cause that I believe in. And so I'm glad you got a chance to be here with me. But before we go, I want to go ahead and show you around so you can see what kind of work environment that I have here at Cornerstone. Everyone, so I hope that you enjoyed the presentation, and I gotta tell you, children's ministry is something that I am passionate about. I love what I do, and I've been doing it over 20 years. So if you are excited about children's ministry or interested in children's ministry, you guys can look me up, you guys can ask me some questions. I miss the time that we have to interact with one another, but at least we get to do this. So I'll catch you guys next time.